It's so dark in here. It's adding like a very specific theme to my video that I was not going for. Hey friends, what is up and welcome back to my channel. Sorry, it has been so long since I have uploaded. I will list up above for you guys the October favorites that I did that I actually filmed 2 weeks ago, but if you follow me on like Twitter and Instagram, I have had a very hectic couple of weeks. Just life has been changing a lot and I have been focusing on like family and friends, and I just haven't really wanted to post because my mindset and what I have been focusing on has been so very specific to specific things, and I didn't want to put out anything that I didn't want to be proud of, and I honestly just really needed a break. There's a lot of things that have happened over the last couple of months that just keep reoccurring, and I needed a little bit of time to recenter myself and remember why I choose to do, YouTube, and why I choose to make videos and talk to you guys and hang out with you, and I didn't really want to lose sight of that. And I've always been the type of person to say that I was going to take breaks and then never end up really taking them. I specifically remember like moving and, pre-filming for that and pre-filming for like vacations and stuff. And I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to kind of be in the moment, which is why today, getting back into things, we're going to do something a little bit easier than, like a full-on book review or a really creative video. Not that I ever really do those, but we're just going to sit down and do the end of the year book tag, because I have done this every single year since I started my channel, and they're fun to look back on. And it's also fun to kind of see like end of year goals for people and kind of what they're thinking about their reading and books that are coming out. And I find this tag enjoyable, and I've tried to kind of avoid doing tags recently because I don't want to seem like I'm being lazy, because I feel like that's like the viewer consensus, that people who do tags are lazy. And while they are easy, I don't necessarily see it that way. So today that is what we are going to be doing. So I'm going to stop rambling and we're going to go ahead and get started on this video. So this tag was originally created by Ariel Bissett. She's one of the like OG YouTubers, and she created it years and years and years ago. And like I said, I really do enjoy it. The first question we have here is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? I'm not the type of person to like start a book necessarily and then choose to DNF it in a way that I'm going to come back later and finish it. I do actually have one though this year, and that would be the Frankenstein retelling by Kiersten White. I'll put it up here on the screen. As you guys know, with my OCD, that book was pretty triggering to me because it's a lot of morality questions and a lot of, what makes somebody a good person. There were a lot of really questionable things that were happening in the book that really did trigger me at the time that I tried to read it. Now, I love Kiersten. I love her retelling. She's one of my absolute favorites for retellings. And setting that book aside, I knew that I eventually was going to go back to it, and my hope is to finish it by the end of the year. But unfortunately, that is the only book that I have. If I DNF a book, like I said, it's usually because I have no interest in finishing it. I'm probably not going to finish it. I don't really want to waste my time. So that is the only book that I can think of that I think would really apply to this question. Number 2, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Now, every time I've done this, I've often wondered if this is like a reoccurring transitional book, but for me this year, it's a book that I've never read that definitely has the winter, like autumn into winter vibes that I'm really liking, and that would be Sisters of the Winterwood. And this is a book that I started this past week. You guys will see it in updates throughout the vlogs. You guys will see it in my like what I read in a week wrap up coming in a couple of weeks. But so far I am really liking it, and I think that it is the perfect transition for me this year from autumn into winter. Now, autumn in Ohio lasted about 2.5 weeks. I just, I don't know what happened. I like blinked and it was gone, but I am really liking it. It definitely has that like deep winter vibes. It's about 2 young girls. They are sisters, and their parents are actually both basically from tribes of people that are able to transform into animals. So their mother is a swan and their dad is a bear, and they fall in love in like, I don't want to say warring tribes because I don't necessarily think they were warring tribes, but they are not suited for each other according to the tribes that they are from. And the girls are left by themselves because their parents need to go back to where their dad is from, because their grandpa basically is dying, and it is their dad's you know, like right and duty, I guess, to kind of take up the mantle of the leader of their group. And so they're left alone. I'm not very far into it. I'm about 80 pages into it, but it definitely is giving me that winter vibe. If you want any other suggestions for books like that, I would definitely say Bear and the Nightingale. That is a fantastic book. It gives you that really deep, like Russian winter kind of vibe. It's a book that you kind of want to be bundled up with, like in a warm house with like a warm cup of tea, maybe something like mindless on the television. That is my favorite kind of day. So definitely those books I think are the transitions for me. And this one that I'm reading currently, I'm like really enthralled with it. I think the writing is really cool as well. One is told from like first person, and the other sister's story is told in like poem form, and I'm really enjoying it so far. The next question, is there a new release that you are excited for or still waiting on? And that was really easy for me. It'd be The Light of All That Falls by James Islington. I don't know how to say his name. This is the third book in the Lycanius trilogy, obviously the last book in the Lycanius trilogy. Pretty sure that it is showing up today. I do believe that it comes out the beginning of December or mid-December. I actually requested a copy from Orbit because I like inhaled the first two books. If you guys have been following me the last couple of weeks, I just inhaled the first two books and I really, really need to know how it ends. That is definitely hands down the book that I am most excited for. I want to know the little bit of loose ends that are still there. I want to know kind of what happens to my favorite characters. And looking at the book, because a couple of my friends that also requested it have already gotten it, it's pretty massive, and that's just so exciting to me. And this series has really blown me away this year. I fell in love with it, like head over heels in love with it, and I cannot wait to read the third one. I'm so freaking excited. Like I said, I just want to know how it ends, and I want to get answers to the questions. And the reoccurring question that's in the book that I really want to know, there is a specific character, I don't really want to say who, but they do debate within themselves like morality, and they are like, this is my past, and is this going to be, you know, my future? Because presently, as I'm living, these two things don't meet. Like how I felt then and how I'm feeling now and what I would like to be don't really mesh. And I want to see how James kind of like resolves that. That's something that's really been like forefront of my mind while reading the series. So I am really excited to get my hands on it and finally finish the series. It's just, like I said, it's so beautiful. If you guys have been following me for the last couple of weeks, you know that I'm just absolutely in love with that series. The next question is here, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Now, I don't ever really, because I've become such a mood reader recently, I don't really have many books that pop into my head that I'm like, yes, I want to finish that before like a specific time, because time is really like non-linear for me. Like every day is like a new day for me. Every day is like separate from the last. And so for me, I try not to plan too far ahead. Like you guys have kind of commented that on my videos and stuff. I'm like really organic because I'm like, I try to live in the moment as much as possible. But this year there are a few books that I think that I really, really want to get to. So I want to continue with the series, the Spellslinger series. I don't know what it's a series. I'll put the picture of the first one here on the screen for you guys. I did read and finish this, and I am part of the way through the second one and really enjoying it. My goal is to hopefully finish that series by the end of the year. I don't know if it's going to be the last one in the series or the second to last one in the series is on its way to me. That one is out early, like mid-November or early December. And I want to try to get through the entire series before then. Obviously, the next in the Lycanius trilogy, I really want to read before the end of the year. But the book that keeps popping in my mind as a book that I just really want to just sit down and enjoy and read would be Middle Game. And I have started and set down this book because it seems like a book that I really need to take my time on. And I tend to be a binge reader, so I do read like a book in a day or a book over a couple of days. And this seems like a book that you kind of want to go on a journey with because I feel like there's a lot of nuance to it. Shannon's writing is very, I don't want to say florally because I fucking hate floral writing, but it's very beautiful and semi-whimsical in a way, and I think the stories that she writes, I don't know, I've been hearing pronouns used for them both, so I'm not sure if it's they or she. If you know, let me know down below, but I'm just gonna say they to blanket statement it. Their writing is beautiful to me. Like their writing style and the stories that they tell, I think are just really stunning and really like I said, whimsical, and the characters are very like whimsical. It kind of reminds me of like a Tim Burton novel, and I really like that. So definitely Middle Game. I've heard great things about it. Like obviously Lala likes it. My friend Rachel really loved it. There's so many people talking about it online, really enjoyed it, and I'm like both nervous and really excited, which is why I wanted to dedicate a little bit more of a specific time as opposed to sort of like rushing through it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to ruin the experience for myself. Next question, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Yes, I actually was at, there's a store in Columbus called the Book Loft yesterday, and there is a new book by Christina Lauren, which for the life of me right now, I cannot remember the name of. I will put a picture here on the screen. You guys know I'm Christina Lauren trash, and I have loved basically every book they've done except for Love and Other Words. I didn't like that book, but I feel like, oh, it's called Twice in a Blue Moon. I feel like I could really love this book. I think that even for me, there are books by Christina Lauren that people don't like Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. Apparently that's a really unpopular one, mostly because the ending of the book was really jarring to people, but I gave that book 5 stars. That's probably going to be my favorite read of the year. And I think for me, like, I know, like, normally I can kind of be like, oh, I think I'm gonna like it, or, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to love this book. And that is because Christina Lauren tends to write very believable characters, very fun, well-paced stories, and recently that is really just all I've been craving. So I think that it's going to be a 5-star read for me, and I'm really hoping it is. I've been seeing some negative reviews on it, but like I said, I tend to really like everything that they do, so chances are I'm really going to like this one. And the next question is, have you already started making reading plans for 2020? I have not. I think that for me, like I said, I am such a mood reader that I don't necessarily plan anything like that. I think the only real plan I have is I do want to make my way through the Harry Potter series again. I think that that is something that I've just been wanting to experience. And another thing, I guess the only other reading plan that I have is I do want to read the Stephen King books I own that I haven't read. There are a few that I haven't made my way through yet. And I was telling someone yesterday, because they asked me, like, you know, how many, like, have you read everything by Stephen King? And I was like, no, I haven't. And then we were at the bookstore and I was pointing out to them, like, I haven't read this one and this one and this one. And the list is pretty short. I think it's like less than 10. So I think it's time for me to sit down and do that. I do also want to make my way through the Dark Tower again. There's just those little things. But when it comes to like specific, like, you know, I want to read this many books and I want to read this type of book and I want to, you know, I don't really do that. There are just like a couple of things that I think would be fun to do over 2020. It's also really jarring and ridiculous that we're already in 2020. I'm going to be turning 30 in February, and I think that, I don't know, there's just a lot that has changed over the last month. And so when it comes to like getting excited for the new year, I think that my overall goal for life for 2020 is just going to be like chill and take it day by day and not stress myself out. So that definitely also applies to the reading that I plan on doing. All right, guys, so that is the end of the year book tag. I'd be really interested to know books that you are excited for, because I have spoken before that I'm not really somebody who gets really excited for releases of books. Like, I do request obviously books from Orbit, but they really send you a list and they're like, do any of these appeal to you? Like, would you like to read any of these? And that's really where I get like anything like that. And definitely I would like to know your reading plans for 2020. Like, do you have any specific goals like that you think will enrich your reading experience in 2020? Like, maybe it can be that you're going to start keeping track of pages read every month. Maybe it's going to be that you're going to want to read more series or want to branch out in a genre that you don't normally read. Let me know down below. But that is going to be it for today's video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.